All right. I think we're good. Dan, you want to go? You think we should get started?
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time if anybody wants to jump on. That's okay. It's recorded, so if they miss it, they can catch up.
Right. Exactly. Well, welcome everybody to our Lunch and Learn of the very first day of 2021's Better Business Summit. We're glad you could attend today. This session is being recorded, as Dan said, and there will be opportunity for some interaction in this session and some Q&A at the end. And we will be sharing the presentation with everybody after the event is over, because we know sometimes it takes a few times to let things sink in, and sometimes you want to be able to step back and listen to something again. So we will share all of that with you after the presentation as well. We are going to welcome Dan. This session is called To Sell is to Serve. The future of business and the future of selling is in serving our customers and clients. Dan will share simple strategies and discuss the importance of our evolution away from transactional sales to meaningful relationship building that produces higher conversions and long-term results. Dan is actually with Post University, and Post University is one of our event sponsors today. At Post University, they've always understood the importance of being there for their students and their partners every step of the way. Every enhancement and expansion to their systems has been driven by their needs, with the goal of creating a successful outcome for each and every student and partner that they cultivate. Thank you to Post University for sponsoring this session. And just a little bit about Dan before he goes ahead and takes it away. Dan he's a professional speaker, author, and leadership coach, and a goal success guru. He began his professional journey in the Marine Corps, where he hardened his communication and leadership skills as a human intelligence specialist. He was exposed to professional speaking while in college at Long Island University. And after graduation, he toured the country, sharing his story of overcoming adversity and becoming the first in his family to serve in the military and graduate college. After speaking to tens of thousands of college students all over the United States, Dan began to write his book, Do It for the Dopamine: Hacking Brain Chemistry to Achieve Success. In 2019, he began coaching business executives and small business owners and helping them level up in their leadership, communication skills, and become high achievers using his goal success equation. Dan, we want to welcome you to today's Better Business Summit, and we're excited to have you for presenting this session. So take it away, Dan.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful introduction. I want to move into just to first talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. I really want to talk to everybody and teach to everybody what a service sales model is. And I also want to go through what you need to consider when you're creating a service-based sales model for your business. I'm going to try and keep this as vanilla as possible, as high level as possible, just so we can really get the meat of what we're going to talk about. And then at the end of the presentation today, I want to leave a little bit of time, if possible, to workshop through maybe one or two of your current business states as in regards to sales, and how we might be able to work through how you would implement a service-based sales model within your business. And so as we're talking about this today, if you're a brave soul, at the end of the presentation, you want to jump in and let me actively workshop with you how to turn whatever your sales process is, whatever your business is, into a service-based sales model. I would love to do that. So just keep that in mind as we're going through the presentation. We might want to talk through that together. And I'm just going to really quick, I love to see people's faces. So before we jump on, if you can, I'm going to stop my share. And can we kill the speaker view? And I would love to go to a gallery view to see everybody who's on, if that's possible. Matt, do you know how to do that before we jump in here? Or Jackie?
I think Jackie's, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it is in gallery mode. I don't know why just the three of us are showing up.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can go to gallery. If not, that's okay. I would love to see your faces, but if not, we'll roll with it.
Yeah, it says gallery, but it's just, oh, let me try this. No, they didn't do anything. I don't know. It's just us, but it is on gallery. I'm not sure why.
That's okay. It might be because it's in panelist mode. We'll just keep it pushing. All right. So I was thinking about this presentation the other day, and I'm a homeowner, and I have this tree in my backyard that has a bunch of ivy on it, and the branches are getting a little crazy. And over the last couple of years, some trees that are nearby this one have fallen due to weather damage. And so I, did the normal homeowner process. I started reaching out to tree companies, and I like to try and choose local business that's close to my house, and to try to really not only close to my house, but also in my town, because I love to support businesses in my town. And I reached out to a local tree company. They came out. They were very prompt, on time. They, looked at the tree in question. The guy was like, yeah, this is no problem. I can take care of this. I'll send you a quote and you can decide if you want to use this or not. And so a day or two went by, I never got the quote. So I called and said, hey, just really looking forward to that quote. Love to work with you and get the pricing options for the tree. The lady I spoke to said, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. I have a last name. My non-pseudonym, my non-speaking last name is a long Italian name. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see it, but people misspell it all the time. So I thought maybe they just didn't send it to me because the spelling was wrong. And then another day went by, still didn't get it. I called again. Another day went by, I called again, still didn't get it. And then I called the sales number that I got from whoever I spoke to, and it went to, I think, an owner or a co-owner. And they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you haven't gotten this. I'll send it. 2 days went by, still didn't get it. Finally, I got him back on the phone and said, hey, it's been a little over a week since, probably it was over 10 days since I'd received this quote. I really wanted to use them because they were local and they were in my backyard, and I love to support local business. I explained that to the guys, like, I really want to support you guys, but I really need to know what this is going to cost. I finally got the quote, and when I initially spoke to the sales guy, the guy who came out and looked at my tree, he said they would do veteran pricing and they would really work out a deal with me because I'm in their community, and they love to help out people that in the town that they work with. So when I got the quote, it had two prices. It had the cost to do the tree work and then the cost to remove the trees. And it didn't show or demonstrate the veteran pricing discount. It didn't have any kind of explanation of what the costs were. It just said service. And then the next thing said, I think it was like removal service. So the tree service itself, and then the removal of the trees, whatever it was, and then the tax and everything else. And so I emailed back and I said, hey, does this include the discounts? Does this, I talked to the sales guy about it, and they were like, yeah, it's all in there. So when I thought about this interaction, I thought about how I felt like during this conversation that I'd had and these multiple times that I'd called, I felt like I was becoming a number to them. They wanted to make it sound like they cared about the fact that I was in their community, the fact that I was a veteran, but I never really felt like they actually were giving me that level of service. I honestly just felt like it was something that they say. And it kind of disassociated me from wanting to work with them, because I felt like all it would have taken was, even though I was remarkably patient and I didn't mind waiting for the quote, a demonstration of, hey, we're going to give you this 10% off for your veteran status, or we're going to give you 10% off for, you living in the community or something like that. And for whatever reason, because of that, I didn't want to work with them. I didn't want to use them for my tree service. And it brings me to my first point, which is that where we are in business today with technology and data is that it's starting to kill the relationship part of how business works with their customers. This tree company, for a lot of great reasons, probably knows that if they do more quotes with customers, they're going to close more quotes. And that's what their data tells them. And to close that, they use technology. They probably have a system in place that they use to make sure that they're sending out quotes, getting them to the customers, and then closing quotes and using background softwares or systems to do all that. In addition, that technology also means that there's more competition for them to have to work through. So the more numbers they get, the more likely they are to be able to close on clients. And it really made me feel like in what we've gained in the benefits of all of the technology and all the data that we have at our fingertips that make us more efficient, that increase our ability to serve business processes, to serve our customers. We've lost a core or foundational principle of developing relationships with your customers long-term. Even if I had decided to use this tree service, I probably would not call them again just because of how they treated me. I felt like I was a transaction to them. I felt like they didn't genuinely care about me as a homeowner, what I wanted to do, my veteran status. I felt like I was just another quote that they had and a long list of quotes. And when they finally got it to me, they didn't demonstrate anything to show that they cared about what I was interested in, or they cared about the things that I brought up to them as being meaningful to me. And I think I wanted to bring this up first because I felt like it's an underlying principle that is really easy to lose sight of. As we get more focused on technology, the ability to serve more customers, analyzing our data, trying to become more efficient, we can never lose sight of the tiny customer interaction things that we can do to make our customer feel valued, heard, and a part of a longer term relationship that they're developing with the businesses that they use. So I mentioned technology, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what I believe is the future of sales. Right now, because of technology and data, customers have unlimited amount of choice. When I Googled tree companies in my area, I want to say probably 40 different tree companies within a 5-mile radius popped up. So I have an unlimited amount of choice when it comes to me being a customer. And it means that you have as a business to be able to stick out among all of those search options that a customer has. Also, customers have access to more information than they've ever had before. You know, Yelp reviews and customer reviews, Google reviews, that's all at the fingertips of your customer. Being able to get quotes in real time, all at the fingertips of your customer. Customers knowing or trying to be able to do things on their own, which sometimes is a benefit for the business, sometimes not a benefit for the business. So there's so many things that make it harder for businesses today to close and work with customers than it was 30 or 40 years ago. And it's only going to get more complex, more challenging for businesses to stand out as more and more players get into the fields. You have companies like Fiverr and Thumbtack that allows sole proprietors to start doing pieces of business. If you're in marketing, for example, instead of doing a full suite marketing service, you end up having piecemealed out when people use Thumbtack or Fiverr for much, much cheaper and working with people that live in different countries where their the dollar of your potential client is going to go a lot farther with somebody in Thailand or in other countries. And so these things make it harder and more difficult for us to find customers and to keep customers. And I always believe that no matter the competition, no matter the situation, there's always a way for us to differentiate. And to me, it boils down to two key factors: how we serve our customers and what our customers experience. So what is a service-based sales model? What do I mean when I say that? What I believe a service-based sales model is a holistic customer service approach. It's not just, here's my product, I'm going to treat you right, you're going to buy my product, and then maybe I'll send a follow-up, how did it go? It's thinking about everything that that customer would experience that leads them to you initially, that brings them back to you for recurring business, and this gives you referrals in the long term. So if, for example, I'm a marketer, what is that customer searching for when they find me? What might their pain points be? Why are they considering my company versus another company? You have to ask yourself a lot of questions to try and understand your customer as best as you possibly can, not just from a point A to point B, what is my product and how does my product solve a pain point, or how does my service solve a pain point, but all the reasons that that customer may be coming to you or be coming to your business. I also like to understand everything about our competitors. What's their pricing? How do they reach out? What's their customer service? Because that's going to tell me what I can do to differentiate myself among my competitors and how they treat and serve their customers, their products, and their pricing options and anything else that you can think of. Understanding your competition and their business processes is how you can fit when everybody's zigging, you're zagging. And I also believe that a foundational principle to a service-based sales model is focusing on long-term relationships, not transactional sales. It's really, really easy when we have bills to pay to focus on trying to sell as much as possible so we can pay our bills and we can use that income as growth. But we lose sight of the value of long-term relationships and residual income when we do this. And if we use these three pillars as things that we focus on for our service-based sales model, we can create residual sales, we can get loyalty from our customers, and that loyalty results in referrals. And whenever I think of this, I always think of Maya Angelou's quote, which is why I put it here. And I'll just say it, even though I'm sure you've all read it, but I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I use the tree service as an example. I couldn't care less about the price. I couldn't care less about their service at this point. What I wanted was to feel heard and to feel valued as a customer. And if they had done that, they could have been 20 or 30% more expensive than the next closest competitor. And I probably would have chosen them because of the values that I hold close to me, which is working with a local business in my community and somebody that honors my veteran status. And that was all that I needed to hear from them. And they missed that mark. So how do we implement a service-based sales model? And this is where most people find the most challenges because it's hard to think outside the box. This is not an easy thing for most people. The first step is always a culture of customer care. And I don't mean that you're treating your customer right from the moment that they interact with you until the moment that the sale closes. And even maybe the moment that you reach out to them for a review on your service or experience or the product that they received, but how you consider and work with them before they reach out to you or as they're reaching out to you, and how you consider and work with them after they've bought your product and beyond that first 6 months. So how do we treat those people when they become a part of our family? So at Post University, our partnership team, we have a culture of community of practice, which means that any of our partner institutions, all of the partners, businesses that we partner with for education and professional development needs, we become consultants for them in this space. And so that doesn't mean that we just talk to them about the university degree programs that we offer and how they can benefit their staff from a retention perspective or from an experience perspective, or even from an advancement perspective, but we work with them to say, what are some of your pain points? What are some of your needs? Can we solve that problem for you? Or do we have to reach out and go to our network to bring somebody in to solve that problem for you? So we become a subject matter expert for our partners. And what that does is it opens doors for us that other, basically business universities that focus on working with partnerships don't ever get access to. We get invited to meetings where they're in strategy sessions talking about how education and professional development impacts their long-term outcomes. We have American Sentinel College of Nursing. So we're in healthcare and sometimes we're in boardrooms and meetings talking about how education impacts patient outcomes and healthcare. And the reason why we're there is because we presented ourselves as a consultative partner, somebody they can go to, ask difficult questions, get resources, and have an honest feedback loop, really, where they can find answers to problems that they are having trouble finding on their own. And we open our doors, we open our network to anybody who can help them. And a good example is a few years ago, one of our partners was trying to implement a 5-year plan to try and increase retention for their staff. And when they mentioned this to me, I said, hey, I actually have a partner who's in New Hampshire that has already been doing this for 10 years. They're showing great success. I would love to just connect you to them, and you guys can talk together amongst each other about how they may be able to implement this at their facility as well. And I didn't get anything from that. We didn't get any, immediate enrollments from it for our programs. We didn't sell anything from a professional development standpoint. But what I did get there is a social currency, if you will. And that currency goes a lot longer and a lot farther than if I had just sold them a degree of higher education, or if I just sold them a professional development tool for their leadership team. Because I'm now helping them with a problem that they're having, and I'm making them feel relief, and I'm making them feel supported, and I'm making them feel like I am a source of those two feelings. So they're going to continue to come to me when they have those experiences in the areas of education and professional development, because that is what we're providing to them. So the first and number one most important thing whenever you're implementing a service-based sales model is a culture of customer care. Other pillars that we need to think about when we're implementing a service-based sales model is multidimensional thinking. And this is really where, in my opinion, the rubber meets the road. This is where you get creative. I like this. This is the fun part. If this is not the fun part for you, that's okay. Reach out to me afterwards and we can workshop these things. But this is where I start to think about all the ways that I can stick out and I can collaborate and be great with the people that I'm trying to work with. So let's use the tree service as an example. That tree service had a guy come onto my property, walk my property with me, and look at the tree in question that I was concerned about. When he walked onto my property, all he did was walk up to the tree that I had, ask me what I wanted to do with it, cut it down or keep it, at which point I asked him what his perspective was. And then he walked off and left. Now imagine if that tree company had a multidimensional thought process on serving their customers. Imagine he walked onto my property, he goes, "Oh, I see that you've been installing this driveway. Oh, I see that you might be doing work on your house. Oh, there's some other trees down there." And he started talking to me more about my goals as a homeowner. That's going to open doors that would have been previously closed, or that were previously closed, because all he did was ask me about the single tree that I wanted to have worked on. And so really what this does is it starts peeling back the layers of what your customers' needs and wants are, so that you can start filling a need. So maybe you're only a tree company, but maybe you have other business contacts in the local area. Maybe you know somebody who works on driveways. Maybe you know that my grass is long and it looks like maybe I don't have somebody who comes and takes care of my lawn. Maybe you ask that question. "Hey, it looks like you have a pretty big yard here. It must be a lot of lawn maintenance that you have to deal with." "Oh yeah, I have to mow it every day on my own." "Hey, I know a company that down the street, they do really good deals. They work with us all the time. I would love to connect you." Now what you're doing is you're still there to serve the tree that I have that I'm worried about, but you're trying to help me as a homeowner. You're trying to give me resources. You're trying to solve pain points, and you're genuinely curious about what my needs are and what my goals are. This is the type of stuff that most businesses don't do. And because of that, they're getting the results that most businesses get, which is one-dimensional transactional sales that don't result in long-term relationships and don't result in residual incomes. They don't result in collaborative approaches, and they don't result in referrals. I'm never going to refer this tree company to anybody else, because I'm like, you're just going to get a quote and that's pretty much it. And they're about midline in terms of price. So, take what you get or not. Maybe it's going to come down to availability for you. But if this same guy came onto my property and said, "Hey, I know a lawn person. Hey, I could look at all these other trees if you want. Some of them might be healthy or some might be dead. Maybe just, maybe have a plan in place. I could quote you for those maybe in the future. Hey, we work with a company who, helps with driveway maintenance, or, whatever that person might be trained to see or to ask or to work with on their customer. "Hey, how are you doing? How's your house? Hey, we worked on that tree." Those types of things are really important. Go beyond your one-dimensional process, your one-dimensional product, and really look at other ways you can open the doors, peel back the layers of what your customers' needs are. Even if it's a product that you don't have, it will help you close a sale if you open a door for them that's going to solve another pain point that customer may have. Collaboration, like I mentioned, having a lawn company or something, collaborate with your businesses and local businesses. The BBB is a great way to network and meet other businesses. This is a really pivotal and important piece. We at Post University, as an example, collaborate with other schools. We don't offer every program, and that's okay. We know that. We're really good at the programs that we offer. But if you're looking for something that we don't have, I would much rather be the guy that connects you to the school and the person who's going to give you great customer service and be the result of that ease of feeling for you. That's going to go a lot farther for me. So I love collaborating. I love opening doors to other businesses. I feel like there's enough out there that we can all eat as long as we all take a collaborative approach towards customer service. Here's where the money comes into play. Service-based options. If you're not using them right now and you only have a product or you have like a one-off service, you need to start implementing longer-term service-based options. This is the future of business. If you're not doing this, I genuinely think you should reconsider and rethink how you're operating your business right now. Almost anything you do as a business can have a service-based option. If, for example, that tree company said, hey, for an additional $100 a year, we will come out and inspect your property every 3 months to make sure that your trees are healthy, that you're not having too many vines growing on trees, causing things that are unhealthy. We'll inspect all your trunk, tree trunks or whatever. Those types of things. I'm sorry, I don't know much about the tree service, but let's say they added this service-based component. I would most likely as a customer be like, yeah, to have peace of mind, I will pay an extra $100 a year to make sure I don't have to worry about something that I don't know anything about. What this also does is it builds customer loyalty, and it makes you the first call when that customer has a problem, because they know that you're there. They know that you're going to check on them. They know that they care about you. So for me as a customer, I love things that take the thinking out and away from me, and I can just plug and play and not have to worry about it. I'm a busy professional. I don't have time to tinker with all this kind of stuff. It's cumbersome enough that I have to go through 50 quotes, have 50 people come to my house to try to get the best price and the most rewarding experience with the business that I work with. Once I find that, I do not want to let it go, especially if they treat me right. So service-based sales options result in not just your one-off, hey, I did this one task or I sold this one product, but now you've implemented a process that results in residual sales with little to no output from you. Also, it was really important, and these last 2 points are when I talk about going away from transactional relationships to longer transactional sales to longer term relationships. These are the two that stick out most to me. Most businesses know what they're really good at, which is great. But they also, because they know what they're really good at, they get really laser focused on not hearing what a customer may want. And so this is a very important pillar to consider. And the reason why is when you're talking to a customer and you sell a tree service, maybe there's something that you could add to your service model or your business model that will serve more customers and increase your income, your bottom line. And it might not cost you as much. For example, if that tree service said, hey, every fall when your leaves come down, we'll send a team out to blow all the leaves up and haul them away from your property. That probably wouldn't cost too much, but we're already in the tree business. So what I'll do is I'll say, hey, for an extra $250 a year, we'll come out there twice a year in the fall and we'll take all your leaves away so you don't have to worry about it. They're already familiar with my property. They're already familiar with me as a homeowner. They've built my trust. I don't even need to be there. I don't have to call somebody else. If you're open-minded to what your customers need and you ask a lot of questions and you are open to feedback, both positive and negative, you will see doors open to you beyond what you're currently doing. And this isn't a requirement for everybody in terms of like adding a service or something. Maybe you're really good and you work well in your niche, but this is just something that I want everybody to think about and consider when they're thinking about customer feedback, reviews, service, because this will also help you when it comes to referrals. Reaching out to people when they've had a bad experience, trying to make them feel great about it, getting people's feedback on their experience in terms of not just what the service was completed, but how they were reached out to, how they were contacted, learning more about the before, the action, and the after. Those things are really pivotal to growing and increasing your ability to continually meet the customer's needs. And the last thing here is persistence. It takes time to build long-term relationships. You're not going to go out tomorrow and implement a service-based sales model and have loyalty and have long-term residual income relationships with your customers. It takes a long time. You have to be persistent. And you have to do the little things that other companies don't do. Find out what your clients' birthdays are. Maybe find out when your client bought their house what their homeowner buy date. I know when I bought my house, 1st of April of 2018. Imagine how cool it would be if you as a company sent me a card on the anniversary of the day that I bought my house. It makes me think of you. You're not selling me anything. But then if I'm thinking in the back of my head that I have something I need to have done in my house and you're the person to fix it, you're going to be the first person that I'm going to call to have that fixed. And so this is what we talk about when we think about persistent. Long-term relationships really are the difference between a successful service-based sales model and a transactional relationship you might have with the customer. So that's really the high level overview. Again, I tried to keep it as basic and as simple as possible because I wanted to save the last 10 or so minutes to workshop through some experiences you may have, or to workshop through a question you may have as a business, or to just answer any generic questions you may have. So if you have any questions, or you have a business right now and you want to workshop with me how you might implement or some ideas that you might have about a service-based sales model, I would love to hear it.
So there's no questions as of now, but as Dan said, if you want to put in your questions, that would be great.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm usually a little more interactive, but because I can't see it, it's hard to tell. So one thing that I'll tell you while you're thinking about a question or an experience, if you want, is at Post University, in our current role, we've realized that our customers, or basically our competition, has pushed a lot of their clients away because they're so focused on their data and their conversion rates. And so I wanted to give you a quick example of how we've zigged when everybody else is zagged. With our customers, when they work with a partnership or another school, they fill out their information, they get contacted by the admissions office, and they're immediately contacted because that lead is active and they're trying to close. We go the opposite direction. We work with our partners, we ask them questions, we give them all the information that they need, and we let them come to us when they're ready. And what we found is that our reputation in those areas has increased. We found that we have higher conversion rates because the people that actually come to us are more interested in actually going back to school or actually working and using one of our products. And so that's a really good example of, again, listening to feedback from your competition and understanding that if we zag, even if it's not the industry standard, which it's not, we do business totally different than everybody else, that we're actually seeing better results by developing these relationships long-term, not being a pressure-based business, knowing that more numbers results in an X amount of conversion rate, which knows that if we need X amount of enrollments, we have to do X amount of leads, because that takes the personalized part of it away. We're seeing way better results, and we're growing at a rate that is manageable. Our conversion rates are higher, and we're having better customer experience overall. So that's just a simple example that I wanted to share with you about some of the ways that we're actively at Post University trying to be different and trying to zig when everybody else is zagging.
So Dan, we do have one question from Joanna. She says, I am a CPA. I provide excellent service, but I've previously undercharged for my services. How do I raise prices without irritating my customers? Can I increase prices to my current customers?
That is a fantastic question. So think about it this way. Is there something, actually, let me put it this way. In sales, so in my military brain, human intelligence, there's certain ways that the brain thinks. And it kind of goes back to supersize me. If you've been around long enough to know about McDonald's and the supersize option, for an extra 40 cents, you can get the supersize, right? And there was a reason why they did that. And it's a psychological brain-based decision-making processes that humans make, right? And so you're a CPA, you're providing a service every single year to the same customers. And you're afraid that if you raise the prices, you're going to lose those customers. The first thing I'll tell you is that if you've built customer loyalty and you explain to your customers like, hey, it's getting more expensive for me to operate my business. I want to maintain you as customers, but I also want to maintain the level of service that I'm trying to provide. I would bet that most of your customers would buy into that and they would want to support you if you've given them the level of service and the level of care that is expected from me as a customer. So if I'm using you and you're a CPA, if my CPA told me today, hey, I'm raising my prices $50, I would be like, great, because I work so well with him. He's communicative. He doesn't charge me, for example, when I have questions about trying to change things with my house or taxes and how that might impact my taxes. He's always there to answer my questions. I have no problem giving him an extra $50 a year or $50 for the service that he's offering. The other thing that you can do is you can think about services that you maybe already do or expertise that you may already have that's relatable to as being a CPA, and you can create a service-based sales model. So you say, hey, to file my taxes or to file your taxes or answer questions or whatever it is, it's $500. But for $1,000 a year, you're going to get the same service that I've been giving you, plus access to me for every month for a meeting if you need it, plus this workbook that I've created. So I do this all the time in speaking with my book. And a good example of this would be, I can say, hey, you can bring me in as a speaker. It's $1,500 for a 45-minute keynote. But if you buy 50 of my books, I will give you the speaking for free. That's just an example. Or you can go, it's $1,500 for a keynote, but I'll stick around for 2 hours after the keynote and answer any questions that any of the attendees have for 2 hours. That's $2,000. If you spend $3,000, I will do the 45-minute keynote. I will stick around for 2 hours and I'll do a half-hour workshop with the leaders of your business. And so this is a way for me to not lose customers because they can always choose the lower option. They can always choose just the 45-minute keynote, which I've calculated out as being, the basic level that I can charge. But I can also increase my sales number for an interaction based on me adding just a little bit extra of my time. I don't have to invest any extra money. I've already written a book. So if they want to buy the books, it doesn't cost me anything. I just have to sell them. Or if they want me to stick around for another half hour, okay, well, you're giving me, it costs $1,500 for 45 of my minutes. So why wouldn't they spend another $1,500 to get 2 more hours of my time? And to me, I was already going to probably give them that time, or I was already going to be around, or I already had that slated for the day. So it's not like it's going to cost me anything extra. So what I would encourage you to do is think about, is there a way that you, or are you aware of how loyal your customers already are? If so, maybe you can just ask to gradually increase it because you have increased costs. Or is there a way that you can creatively approach your clients and say, hey, you can continue to pay me this, but it's only getting you this one function. If you'd like, you can take option B or option C, and this is the benefits that they get with it. And try to create something that is specifically low yield for you in terms of time and commitment. So either create a workbook, or maybe it's just a half hour of your day once a month or something, so that it's really not taking away from your ability to do your core business. I hope that answers your question.
Great. All right. We have another question from Frida. She asks, I lost a customer due to my slowness to meet her product need. I need a backup plan that those needs are met, even if I'm knocked off my saddle for other life matters that demand time and attention. And she says, I guess the question is, what are some backup plans out there to meet your needs of your customers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm sorry you lost a customer. That's never a good experience. It's always so devastating. The first thing I'll tell you is that in anything that you do, you are the most valuable asset. Whether your business is a product or a service, you, the coordinator, the mastermind, the owner behind all of that, is the most important asset. And so I, especially with a lot of my leadership clients, a lot of my business clients that I coach, I always tell them, and it's actually a good example would be a good friend of mine. He's 24 years in the Army. He retired. He is not a mechanic, but he doesn't have a lot of money. So what he does is, instead of going to a mechanic, he'll always, buy a part or a product to put into his car, and he does it himself. And then what he finds is, when he does that, he usually breaks something that wasn't broken before, or it takes him 6 or 7 or 8 hours, whereas a mechanic could have been in and out in a day. and he drives for Lyft. So every hour that car isn't out on the road for him is an hour that he's not able to make money. And so I have to have this conversation with him and with some of my leadership clients, like every hour that you're not able to serve your business is taking you away from the ability for you to pay or to earn income. So sometimes what we have to do is we have to bite the bullet. And if we're getting to the point where the equation that we've had, where our time is now stretched more and more thin, we have to invest in people who can do the menial tasks for us to free up our time for the more important projects that only I can serve. So that might mean bringing in an intern or hiring somebody to just do data work or data entry or something like that. Something that allows you to be freed up from the smaller tasks so you can focus your time on the tasks that really keep and maintain your customers. So that would be my first piece of advice. The second thing you could do is when you're getting delayed on projects or when you have a life experience, a lot of businesses are afraid to admit that. But in reality, you are more likable as a person and as a business when you own your challenges. And I'll give you a good example. There was a study many, many years ago. I can't remember the link, but if you email me, I'll try and find it. They were having people come in to interview. And what they did was they looked at one person who was a perfect interviewer, came in, answered all the questions, was really intelligent, really well prepared, had a great resume, everything was fantastic. Then they had somebody who came in and the first thing they did was like trip over themselves as they were trying to sit in a chair, knocked over a glass of water, things like that. These things are really embarrassing. And you'd think as an interviewer that these things would turn you away from that person. But in reality, what it does is it makes them more likable. So sometimes admitting that we're behind, that we have a life or family crisis, they're going to be like, wow, I know what that's like. I'm going to be more patient with you. Wow, I know how hard it is to manage these things. I'm trying to grow. I'm going to be more patient for you. And you actually will buy yourself time through the honesty and likability of being more human, if that makes sense.
We have another question from Malcolm. He asks, how do you walk the line between wanting to over-deliver and turn a customer into a long-term / recurring customer and not undervaluing your service? I'm thinking transparency about normal rates is the way to go.
Yes, great question. Under promise and over deliver always. So be realistic with yourself about what you can actually deliver, what you have the time and bandwidth to do. And then always try to over deliver on that promise. Again, using the tree service as an example, if they said, hey, for an extra, $100, we can haul away all this old stuff. And let's say maybe while they were there, they also blew and collected all my leaves. That's something that maybe because of that day, you had a little bit more time or your team has a little bit more time. So you take that extra half hour to take care of something that wasn't even a part of the contract. So I always try to take an under deliver over promise approach first to really give myself an ability to one up my experience with my customer. And then I think there was a second part to that I might have missed over.
Nope, you got it all.
Okay, perfect. I hope that was a good answer to your question, Malcolm. And I know we are right at time. I don't want to take too much time. I know Jackie's got a busy agenda for you guys. What I would say is my door is open. I'm going to drop my email in here. This is my personal email. And then again, if you're a business, we partner with the Better Business Bureau. So if you are a member with the Connecticut BBB, your business qualifies for reduced tuition rates and tuition on professional development with post-university. So if you have a educational or professional development need, you can also email me here. But this is either one of those emails. If you want to spend some time with me to talk about some of your challenges and to talk about implementing a sales model, you can email me at the Gannon Global email. And if you want to talk about education or professional development, you can reach me at the post.edu email.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dan. I really appreciate that. This was a phenomenal session. I'm glad we had some great questions and engagement during the session. And also, thank you for mentioning the program that we have with you guys. If anyone is interested in learning more about that particular program, you can obviously email Dan, but also we will be having a session on BBB accreditation and kind of the why and some of the benefits of accreditation on Thursday morning at 10:30. So you can always join us there. And we appreciate you, appreciate everybody for attending this session. I hope you were able to take some information away. Our next session begins at, excuse me, at 1 o'clock in just a few minutes, and it will be on social media marketing, a look ahead and platform trends, usage metrics, and responsibility. So we hope you can join us. If you have not registered yet, visit betterbusinesssummit.com and you can register now for that and any other session. Thank you so much again and have a great, oh, go ahead.
One really important note before you go. I'm sorry to jump in and you were closing this so well, but so important for all of you attending. Jackie has put an incredible amount of work into this agenda and working with all of the speakers and lining up the speakers. This is an amazing program. Please make sure to send her your thanks. A little message goes a long way. She put a lot of time into this. Just send a little note letting her know how grateful you are for all of her work and effort. Same with Matt and their whole Connecticut BBB team. This is the first step into creating a model of customer-focused care and reaching with the leaders that you work with to make sure that they know how valued and appreciated they are.
Thank you, Dan. That was totally unsolicited.
It was unsolicited.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much. And again, everyone, have a great day, and we hope to see you on some other sessions.